Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Q2 Front-End Web Development. One of the first things I would like to mention is the group that we created. That's the Telegram group where you guys are supposed to go and check what's going on there. We also have private WhatsApp group that we've created for you guys. And the idea of that is to, if you want to quickly reach us, we do know that sometimes you might not be able to use Telegram, very often like that. So, but we make WhatsApp group available as well so that we can easily reach you when we need to. Okay, that's out of the way. Most of our communication will come in the form of communicating to you guys in the Telegram platform. The reason there being the fact that it holds a lot of information. You can, if anybody joins the class while we are inside the class, they can go and see all the information that we've already posted on the Telegram platform. Okay, we'll be having 8 lessons on HTML. 8 lessons on HTML, and the idea is that we're gonna break all the lessons down, obviously. So we'll be having 8 lessons in the classes. But before we start anything, you need to prepare your environment. And what is the environment? Your environment in the terms of where you can deploy your code, because the idea of what you are trying to be is that you are trying to become a web developer. You are trying to become a front-end web developer, which is the basic form of solution development in this circle, because there's quite a lot of things that you can be from learning what you want to learn now. You can become a web developer, you can become a front-end developer, you can become a back-end web developer. As I've said, the starting point is being, a front-end developer. That's what this course is targeted at, in the first place. And we are starting from HTML. So you are aware that this course requires you to write a programming language, or rather requires you to write codes. That as it may, that means that you need to prepare the environment in which you need to write your code. So today's lesson is about the preparation. If we're able to prepare ourselves, early enough, then we'll be able to move to the next thing, to the next class. I will try as much as possible to make sure that I carry everybody along, because that's the idea of this course, to make sure that every one of you is carried along. I will not just, leave someone to be behind the class. I make sure that everybody is on the same page. So one of the first things you need to set up is your code editor. Code editor is where you write your code. It's also called IDE, and IDE being integrated development environment. That means where you develop your code is called IDE. You guys should give me 1 minute. 1 minute, please. Okay, sorry. That was my girls. Okay, so I was talking about IDE. IDE is integrated development environment, and there are many IDEs out there. The study is not the study of IDE, it's just to get an environment that will be available for us to write our code. You could literally write your code in a notepad. I'm sure everybody knows what notepad is. Notepad allows you to take notes, using your computer. But an IDE does more than that. An IDE makes it very comfortable to write code, because it comes with some features that allows you to remember codes, to make the code come up for you, because you cannot cram everything. In coding environment, you are going to be memorizing some terminologies. So the IDE aids you to remember those things. Imagine you are in Microsoft Word and you want to spell. Obviously, some things you might forget the spelling of some things. When you type some things, Microsoft Word will underline those things for you, like, this spelling is wrong. Then you can right click and do autocorrect. Something like that in the programming world. We have something like that, and that's IDE. So for this course, we are going to be focusing on Visual Studio Code. It's a software, right? It's a software, and the software is Visual Studio Code. What it does is that it allows you to enjoy your development, just like writing. Imagine if you like have to write a letter without the aid of Microsoft Word. You know, this now an age where we have tools that could aid us in writing better, and then you are just writing pen and paper. You know, we can easily get lost. So that's the purpose of our IDE that we want to go and download now. So if you guys are writing, or you have what's it called, your tool with you, you can also develop along with me and move along with me as I navigate through what I'll be doing now. So the address is Visual Studio Code, so you can just do VS Code. So I'm going to present my browser here to you guys so that you can see. So is Visual Studio Code, the URL is there, is code.visualstudiocode.com. So you could actually come here and choose what you want to, which flavor you want to pick. And before we go ahead to download and install, let me come to our Telegram platform again and try to explain something to you. Today we're not doing coding, it's just to give us the procedure to talk about what it is we want to get ourselves into and see how we can benefit and enjoy the development, you know, of this. We can enjoy the learning, because the learning environment is very key. You know, if we didn't set this properly, it might affect your going forward. So the ProcessGuy community is divided into several topics, and you need to understand the way it is structured so that you can easily find whatever you're looking for. We have the general topic, and what general is all about is just general from the literal terms. And you will notice we have a specific place for Visual Studio Code, and what that tells you is that we've actually dedicated a specific topic for you or for every other person to be communicating and be talking about Visual Studio Code. Because as you go along to start writing developing programs, you will get to notice that, oh, Visual Studio Code can do this, oh, Visual Studio Code can do that, just in Microsoft Word, which I know everybody should be used to by now. Microsoft Word has so many features that we are not aware of, but people that are more professional among us, we know that Microsoft Word can do, you know, some stunning things. You know, can do proofreading, can do grammar checking, can do quite a lot of things. And that's the purpose of having a dedicated topic for Visual Studio Code. We can actually come and I'll be giving you guys tips on how to make your code better, on things that you will do that will make coding enjoyable for you. And that's why we have that topic, you know, there standing on its own. The next one we have is the HTML, and I'm sure most of us should have gone through this page. And what this just does is just to introduce you to the course outline. Like, this is what we're going to be covering, you know, that's the idea. And I'll be posting our sessions here so that you can keep track of, okay, day one, this is the video that we did. Lesson 2, this is the video, so you can easily go there and watch those videos, and there will be assignments and everything. You can always get back to us, and if there are any issues, you can chat. You know, in the group and discuss things that relate to those topics, right? So that way we don't get information muddled up together. Okay, I think that should be about that. Let's go back to our Visual Studio Code, what we're talking about. So it's just a simple software which you can just download. If you have issues downloading it, you can chat me properly and privately, because I won't be able to go to your system individually to install. But note it down. The first thing you need to do this night, your number one assignment this night, is to download Visual Studio Code. Let it be sitting pretty on your system, so that the next time we meet, you know, I'll be giving you what to do. Not even next time, it's possible that we'll cover it, you know, now, because we've already prepared a video for you, that 5-minute video that is supposed to take you through, you know, introduction as well. We also prepare 5-minute video, not just the class alone. This is a live class, live section. It's not recorded. We also have the one that we've recorded to give you a quick 5-minute guide to other things. Okay, so from the home page, you could see what the app is all about. These are people that are using it, that are talking about it, interesting. And by the way, Visual Studio Code is not the only code editor out there. We have many other ones, but this is the recommended one that I'm recommending, and by many other professionals, they will recommend this any day, anytime. So this is what we are recommending. But if you are very versatile with any other one, that's fine. So the download button is there. Go ahead, download it, and the process to download it is also in the Visual Studio Code topic. I also have it documented here. Now, once you have it installed, it will come like this. It will come like this. These are our previous it will come like this, waiting for you to start the project. So because we are not talking about Visual Studio Code, I won't be showing you all the nitty-gritty about it, but just a few parts you need to understand. That we have explore, or you can come here and do new projects. Like you want to create a new file, and you just go ahead and create that file. We will not go because I'm trying to take it slowly. Once you install, this is what you have. So I will take questions now. Does anybody have question before I move on? And by the way, at every point in time, you can interrupt me anytime to ask me a question. You don't need to wait for me to finish anything to ask me a question. That way, I can attack or attend to your thought process immediately. So I will take question here if you guys have any question. The next thing I want to address now is we want to go into the lesson proper. This is just the environment setup. So any error you are facing, you can put it on the group, and then we can address it later, but not now in the class. Any error you are facing, you can put it in the community, and that's why we created the community where people can help out and make things happen. One of the things that frustrates developers is the fact that they don't have help from other people. So as I've said, if you guys have any question, you can either chat up the question or raise your hand or say something so that I don't go too deep, so let's start from what we have here as the table of contents, which is the introduction of HTML. And we have a 5-minute short video. I'm not going to play it here. It's all on YouTube. I will just show you the link, and I'll put the link on the site. We have a 5-minute video. We're not playing it here. So we already have that. Learning HTML for beginners. So we have your first HTML. We have everything here. Lesson 1 to lesson 8 is all there. But don't rush and go and start watching it. Let's take it gradually. Don't rush and start going watching it. So I will tell you which video is for introduction to HTML. I will tell you which video is for this. I'll guide you through all those processes. So you don't need to rush through that. So we already have a 5-minute video for each of them. So I made it very, very fast and easy. And the idea is that we want to separate the key points from the lesson. So the key point part is the one that is 5 minutes. The lesson part is where you will now come and ask questions, and I will explain more in detail. So that way you will understand more. Okay. So let's start with what HTML is all about. I'm sure we've had the word HTML, and I'll be giving you some back story to it. And of course, the major thing why everybody is here is I want to come and code. No story. What I'm just going to tell you are the things that are very important to it, and that will build your foundation to your understanding of what's going on. First of all, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And it's used for creating web pages. In fact, it's the foundation for creating anything about web. So let me give you an example of what I mean. If I go to any website today, I can just let's go to the most famous website, right? Google.com. This page you are looking at is made up of HTML. So imagine a document, imagine a PDF, imagine a PNG, imagine any kind of document. HTML is also a kind of document. I'll repeat that again. HTML is a type of document, but is used for what? For web. Just like PDF is a kind of document, a portable document format for reading, documents. while Word documents is for word processor. Excel, they are documents. PDF is document. We have to say MP3 is a document. MP4, they are documents. So HTML as well is a document. So I would like to get like that sinking. HTML is a document. Your understanding of it as a document is key. So and so it means if I click here now, let me just say hello. So it means if I click here now, I'm actually looking at a document that has been designed to make these things look like this. This is a document. Just like as I can open a CV, if you send me a CV, I open that CV document, I'm looking at it in a Word or PDF. The environment in which I'm looking at it is either in Acrobat Reader, or if I'm looking at a Word document, I'm using Microsoft Word to look at it. Now that I'm looking at an HTML file, what am I using to look at HTML file? I'm using the web browser. So web browser I use to display web pages, and that's why we are using Google Chrome or Opera. Of course, you know what web browser are. Web browser are used to browse the web, and the web HTML are used to create those web pages that you are seeing. And the purpose of this course is to tell you how to create those HTML pages. That's where we are getting to. So I need to tell you that this page you're looking at is an HTML page. Any page you click, anything I click now, HTML page. These are HTML pages. So what that tells you is that the foundation of the web is built on HTML. So that's why it's like the fundamental. That's why it's like that's the core that you need to know first. In fact, even if you are planning to become a backend developer, you need to know this core first. You need to know how the front end works to be able to supply, to be able to do stuff in the backend. That's another story for another day. So back to our front end, which is HTML. So now that you've understand what HTML is all about, then how do we get to the nitty-gritty? How do we start coding? How do we start operating the inside? How do we do all these things? What are all these things? How do we place all these things here? Do you get? And I'm assuming that most of us know how to use Microsoft Word. And if we are asked to design this Microsoft Word, you know what you do now? You just type hello, you highlight, you increase the fonts, all these things. You put italics and things like that. And even if we're not so used to Microsoft Word, we can already make notes using our phones and things like that. And you can do some few formatting, text formatting, So we will do the same thing using HTML. That's what we're about to do now. But before we do that, we'll just create our first page. And once we create our first page, we'll stop for the day. We'll stop for it and I'll take questions. We'll stop for the day, I'll take questions. So let's go to the coding environment to see how we can create our first HTML page. As I mentioned to you, these are all HTML pages. All these things you are seeing, they are all HTML pages, right? This one page, right? If I click here now, this another page. All these things have names, like this one now. What's it called? It's called a search bar. We'll get to that. All of them have names. You will get to understand what all those things are called, and you'll be able to create your own and use it on websites. So let's create our own. Will not be fancy like this, by the way, but let's create something so that we will know that we've started the main thing. Okay, let's bring out our editor. Okay, this is the editor. So I'm gonna come here and create new folder, and the idea is that I want to create a blank new session. So I'll just create it new like this. And if you install this for the first time, I think you should be seeing something like this. You might see something stranger because I've used it before. That's why it's trying to tell me that recent files that I've opened. So for you guys that have not used it before, you might see something different. So I'm gonna create new file, and I'm gonna say the file should be called, I can call it anything. I can just say test. But the rule of the thumb in the web, for any file, your first file have to start with index dot what? Who can guess? .html, because that's the name of the file. If you were doing Microsoft Word, what do you think the extension would be? .doc. Now they have .docx, pdf.pdf, mp3.mp3, jpeg.jpeg. Do you get? So HTML2 is not different. So it has to be what? .atm. So you can do .atm for short or HTML. So both of them work. Just like Microsoft Word does PDF, DOC and DOCX. So you can do this or this. Anyone will work. Now I just created my file and it's asking me where it wants to create the file. You can create the file on your desktop or anywhere. Let's just put it on your desktop. Later we'll talk about structure later. Look at our file. It's blank. It's blank file. We want to create our first website. I will not write anything. I'll just say hello. I will not write any command or anything. I'll just say hello. And I save. Once I save, I can go and try it out and see how my code is. In fact, let's just go here and pick it on the desktop. So look at the file I just created. This is the hello I just created, or rather the index I just created. If I open it up, it will open in a browser. Notice that the browser recognizes anything .html. If I save this as a DOC file, it's Microsoft Word that will pick it up. So this is our first web page. Yeah, I know that it's not looking pretty like these other ones that we've seen, but that's the purpose why you are here, to learn how to do all that. So the intention now is, how do you create your first HTML? And that's what I've just shown you. Just open your VS Code, new file, and you create your extension .html. You can actually create new file in Windows and just do .html, and it's just ready like this for you. So go ahead, you can put as many things as you want here. So we'll stop today here. I don't want to push this beyond today. There are more things that I might want to put, but I don't want to do that. So you can see as I change, it changes. So what I want us to focus on is our IDE. I want you guys to go and install the IDE. Very important, because your IDE is where you are going to be doing your development. Because I have some sophisticated stuff that I would like to show you, but because you've not installed your IDE, it will be better for me to wait until you have the IDE installed. So things like, for example, being able to preview what you are looking at. So let me show you what I mean. So if I go to a new folder, let me just create a new folder and call it X, and let me put this inside our folder. Okay, it's refusing not to enter. So we have our folder and we create our new file now. This is our index again. Just stop at ATM and I create our hello. So you will be able to do a kind of preview to see what's going on. Let me do this preview here. So you can see how our system is looking at. So it means you can do something here and preview your result on the right hand side. So that's what this one is talking. So you can see our website showing on the right hand side. So that's the benefits of having your environment configured correctly. So what we're going to be doing before we meet the next class is setting all of you up for the next class. So I'm going to put all these things in the community, how to install your VS Code. Any error you are getting, just go and drop it in the VS Code. I will walk you guys through it. Everybody must have VS Code installed, and the extensions that we use, you have them installed. The next time we are going to meet, I'm going to explain all these things for you guys, what they do, and how you are going to make use of them. So I'll take questions. Outside the class, you can chat me up. Do you understand? And I will address this stuff, one-on-one. So because I want to make sure that everybody is on the same page. I don't expect, it's not everybody that will get this set up immediately. Once they start up. Some people will have issues setting up, but the idea is to put everybody on the same page. So I want to also push, I think we still have time. I want to push one or two things again. So without question, let me set up properly and push the next agenda. So this is the next agenda I want to push. Let me start all over again so that you see the way I'm setting up. I want to start from beginning again. So what I want to do is I'm going to delete this and call this, I'm creating a new folder now, and this folder is going to be where we're going to be putting all our lessons. So I want to do Q2, right? Q2 lesson, and I open our VS Code. So this is our VS Code open. Then I open that Q2 folder here. There's an open button here. I click open, or you can go through file to say open folder, right? So I open our Q2, which is saved on our desktop here. Now that my Q2 is opened, it's blank. We didn't have anything. So I'm starting afresh by creating new file. Remember what I told you the name of the first file will be. It's going to be index.html, or you stop at, M. Now, what I didn't tell you is that, when I wrote this for the first time, you were like, is this that simple? Well, people that know HTML will know that this is not HTML. We're not even started anything at all. I didn't just want to scare you guys. So now is where the scary part comes in, where we need to start writing codes. So this is where, I start scaring you guys. Okay, let's start. So I'm going to show the preview so that as I write the code, you are going to be seeing the preview in the right hand side. Now, the way you write your HTML is built around what we call tags. That's TAG. Tags, or they are called elements. When you write them down, they are tags. When you are referring to them, they are like elements. So every building block of a web page is built around what we call elements. So let's look at the website and see what we mean. So if you see this website now, this website as it is, you see every single item is an element. Every single item is an element, So item cannot just stay on its own. They have to sit inside an element. And I'm going to demo that to you by starting with the code. So we use the angle bracket. You see this bracket, this angle bracket, they will not be your next best friend. This thing here, I'm going to write it out. You see this tag? This thing are going to be your next best friend. You are going to be using them a lot. So there is the open angle tag and then the close angle tag. So you call this open angle bracket, rather. I think angle brackets. So we have the open one, and then we have the close. No, this is left angle bracket. Yeah, I think that's the word. That's the real name for it. And then we have right angle bracket. So if you are with your keyboard, better be looking for it right now. These are going to be your next best friend. And then we have front slash. We don't start coding with that though. Front, is it front or back or slash? Front slash. Let me just say slash. So you're going to be using this guy very well. So quickly locate them on your keyboard and they will now be your next best friend. Okay, forward slash. So let's now start. Now that you know these keys, let me now start using them now, because that's what I'll be using to denote my tag. So if I do this now, I mentioned something to you that HTML is built using tags or elements, and the structure of HTML is going to have like this. It's going to have an open tag and close tag. It's going to look like this, where this one denotes you've opened a tag, and this one denotes you've closed it. Now notice the difference. You notice that there is what differentiates this from this is the back or forward slash or backslash that is here. So this slash denotes that you are ending a tag, and this one that you didn't have any slash in it denotes that you are opening the tag. These are very fundamental things that you need to know. Open and closing of a tag. The opening of a tag is the fact that there's no slash. You just write the name of the tag inside the left and right triangle or left and right angle bracket. Write the name of the tag inside, and then when you want to close it, you still write the name of the tag inside, but you now introduce /. That is the process of creating what? A start and closing tag. Now, as HTML is concerned, there are procedure for writing a well-formatted HTML document. The first thing you need to put is what I just wrote now. You open the system by saying, oh, I'm starting the HTML document here and I'm ending it here. That's the meaning of this tag we just written now. That the HTML document starts here and you're ending it here. The next thing we want to write now is the fact that we want to tell it that we want to specify the head. In fact, I will not go through all the details. Let's just say we want to specify the body, because the body is where we can then address what will fall inside this place. That's what the body is all about. So notice what happened to the body. Do you see that it's carrying the same styling or the same formatting? Notice the body is just like this, and then to close the body you have your /. Now, things you will notice is that why am I writing the name HTML? Why am I saying body? Why can't I just write anything? You can't just write anything, because these are the predefined name you have to call them. It's already engraved in the DNA of when they were creating HTML, that these are the names they must be called, and you must not deviate from those names. If you deviate from those names, it will not yield the result you want to yield. So that's why I told you something about IDE the other time. The IDE are developed in such a way that they are smart and they recognize what you are doing. It makes life easy for you. Now, if you take your mouse over here now, in fact, it's going to tell you what it's doing. You say the body element represents the content of the document. Very smart. Imagine if you were doing this in a notepad, which you can. It won't tell you what body is. It will just allow you to do whatever you want to do. If you are correct, fine. If you are wrong, fine. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that all the tag in HTML, which I've not yet explained to you, by the way, I've just showed you 2 tags, and we have almost up to more than 100 tags in HTML. You don't need to cram anything, right? You just need to know the basics, which I'm showing you. There will be a point whereby you will get to all those places. So we are taking it step by step. So HTML tag starts it. It represents that you are starting the document. The next one that follow for now is body. The next thing that follow in the body is now to say what should show in the body of the document. So we can just say hello world. So the difference between what we've done here and what we've done before now is that this is well structured, because now we are giving it what it's supposed to have. The other time we just wrote anything and intercepts, and that's one thing with HTML. HTML is very forgiving. It will not really treat, it will not make you cry, because when I mean cry, I literally mean cry, because you will get to some point in programming where it might seem difficult, as if it's not working, and that's when we will get to JavaScript, where you will see reprogramming. But this one, if you do anything, it will not even complain. Imagine if I just do like this. Do you get? It still works. Do you see that? It still works, but this is wrong. But HTML is very, forgiving. It doesn't really hold you, but it will get to a place it will not make your work come out well. So you have the start tag, you have the close tag. So let me now introduce more tags. So let's say we want to do header, which is called h1. Don't worry about what I'm doing right now. I'm just creating a page for you. I will still explain each of these in further topic. This is just to create our first web page, and so that it will make sense to you. So you can see that as I'm writing header, it's even telling me what h1 stands for. The h1 element represents a section heading, and then there are other things you can also provide to make your site looks better. You can see that it's kind of making sense small. There are other things we can do to it, and that's the purpose of this training, is to show you how to do all these things. And by the end, you guys are going to have a project that you guys are going to do individually. Everybody's going to design their portfolio page, and it's going to contain what you've learned, you know, with the period of that you've been in this class. So not to worry, you guys are going to get hands-on on this. So what I want to do is I want to take you to the site and show you something, so that by the time you are going through the site or through the tutorial, you will be able to know what to expect. So let me go to YouTube and tell you how to navigate the stuff. So if I go to the channel here, I have playlists, and the playlist is important because I've built it in such a way that you can go through each of them. So you can see where I have my very first page here. This is supposed to be a tutorial for your first page, and you can run through it, and you see all this thing I've explained is here. And the idea is that it's just 5 minutes, so you can download it and go through it. So it's there, everything you need to get is there. And I also have an exercise in the second page. This is supposed to be an exercise for you guys to go through. As I've said, if you don't have the capacity to go through all the training class, you can just do one. And I know you guys are very busy, your daily, you know, routine and everything, so you can just take the class slowly and gently. You don't need to rush through all the exercise and everything. And if you have that capacity to go through them, please, by all means, you can go through it. If you have the capacity to understand everything at the same time, you can do that, you know, and take your time. So this very first class is always very short, because it's the icebreaker, and it's supposed to introduce you to the world of coding. Even though we're literally not doing coding yet, it's supposed to introduce you to the world of programming. So the idea is that you want to turn this, you know, to something like this, is to show you how to turn it to a normal website. You know, you can go to other website and see. So the idea is to turn it to a website that you can actually interact with. So this is just the starting point. So you can see what I've used this code to generate. I just use this to generate this. So it means you can actually do more, you know, by the time you start learning more things, you know, that you will do. I will take questions before we close the meeting for today. We are coming to the end of today's lesson. I will take questions. Thank you for staying to the end. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on bell notification in order to be notified when we release new videos. See you in the next one.